All right, YouTube, how y'all doing today? So we got one more. So I figured we discuss the importance of not being scared of failure and how to be okay with failing forward. Like when you set out to do something, whether it's create a business plan or accomplish any type of goal, like your original path that you set out to take may not be the path that you end up, you know, getting to the destination there. Like you may have to make adjustments along the way that may come in the form of failure. However, you gotta still keep continuing. So you got anything on that?
Yeah, I do. I do. I think with anything, we have to understand that not one thing that we put into place is fail proof. And I think that a lot of times people have a hard time. They end up down on themselves when something goes wrong. They want everything to be perfect or as close to perfect as possible, but it just doesn't happen. What we don't realize about people who are very successful is that they failed a lot.
Right.
And they got back up and they pivoted and made changes, and like you said, they didn't reach the destination the way that they thought they were going to get there. But those failures allowed them to create like a bigger picture, to design things in a much better way than it would have been initially.
Right.
And that's learning through failures.
Right. A business term they use is SOP, the standards of procedure. So if you have a way that you, let's say you have a 10-step process that you do things, and you've been serving 10 clients using this 10-step process and it's been working. As you start to grow in whatever it is you're doing, once you get to 50, that process may not be adaptable to handle that load, so it may have been good for 10 to 20 clients, but once you get up to 50, you going through the same procedure may end you up in a position where you feel like you might have failed or something don't work out right, and it's just like, wow, damn, it's not working. Yeah, you gotta adjust and put something new in place to where it's like you able to adapt to what the situation may be at the time. So I think that's important, learning to be able to adaptability, being able to adjust the situation that's in right now and figure out what can you learn. Like any time you dealing with something you may look at like a failure, gives you the opportunity to learn a lesson, so I feel like that's important, that to have a good understanding.
It is important, and let's touch on, so we mentioned business plans earlier. When we think about business plans, they want you to write these in advance.
Right.
You put all of these things down, which sort of leads into the SOP as well in terms of getting to certain steps. When you put a business plan in place, these are all the things you think that you're these are the things you think you're going to do.
Right.
What you realize, and then it takes a lot of work to really create a good business plan.
Right.
And you bring these to the bank and you bring them all over the place. And then when you start actively working in them, you realize that you have to cross these things out, put something else in its place. You are very rarely going to stick to a business plan, which is just so strange to me that we need to have them written. And I guess it's your blueprint, but it's going to change multiple times over and over and over again. And there's going to be a lot of failures. And there's going to be a lot of times when you look at them and say, this just didn't make sense.
Mike Tyson said everybody got a plan until they get punched in the face.
Right, and that's exactly right. And that's how you feel when something don't work.
You go in there thinking like, he gonna do this, he gonna do that, he going in sock you in your jaw, and that whole plan you had is shit.
And that's how I feel when you go to the bank and you and you can't get what you thought you were going to get based on that business plan. None of that works.
These are my projections. This is what I plan to do. This is the clients I'm already serving. Yeah. So, I'm trying to get up to this many clients, but this is the resources that I need to help me get there. And they like, nope.
Not at all.
Not at all. Nope.
So yeah, it's it's tough. it's tough to fail, but it's so necessary.
Right.
It's very necessary, and it needs to not be looked at as a bad thing. Failure needs to be looked at as something that's going to bring you to your next level, because of all of the lessons learned. There's life lessons, business lessons, personal, like you name it. You're going to learn, and nothing can be simple and easy and like this all the time.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, and trying, I feel like will get you, trying and failing, in my opinion, I feel like will get you further than just sitting still, being stagnant, trying to over assess, analysis paralysis, I believe is what they call it.
Yeah.
I deal with this a lot. Like whenever I'm, looking to go on something, I'm trying to mitigate the risks and think of what could happen, and this, like have a full on blueprint of how things will work out. And it's like it's like when you go to a job, right? You got like an orientation where you sitting in the class and they doing one thing, and then you got like on the job training, and that'll maybe give you like some hands on what you're gonna do in the task. But I feel like there's also like real life, like in the moment, things that you're not gonna experience this from afar. Like you're not gonna experience this until you're doing it. Like if you want to invest in real estate, or just using it as an example, there's certain things investors go through that you're not gonna see sitting at a distance, unless you're blessed enough to have a mentor to where you could pay to avoid the mistake they make. That's why mentorship is a big thing right now, and a lot of people is promoting it, because sometimes it's better to pay to avoid certain mistakes if you can. But there's some that you could just put yourself out there, and this particular failure won't knock you out the game. Like you want to avoid things that may put you out, like because there's certain mistakes that'll take a long time to recover from. But like sitting in place, just thinking that, oh, I might fail because of this, so I'm gonna wait 3 years until
until you save this amount of money or whatever, because that's a lot of it too. People, you always want to wait. It's always we keep moving the line every time you get to
move it again. It's another reason, and that's why they came up with the term there's never the perfect time. Like there is always going to be something. Life is always going to life. Like there is always going to be something going wrong, or some reason why you cannot be doing what it is that you're trying to do at the time. So the more you let that deter you, is the more advantage you giving to somebody else that's willing to just go out there and put one foot in front of the other. And if they trip, you know what they're gonna do? Get back up and keep walking. So that's pretty much I feel like the attitude that you gotta have at it. Like no matter what happens, I'm just gonna keep moving forward.
Right. And back to mentorship, a good mentor is gonna hold you accountable as well. And they're gonna have you, so they're gonna try to prevent some of the pitfalls, because they know certain things, but they also want to check in with you and make sure that you're getting up moving, and that you're doing the things that you're supposed to do to even get to the next level. But I feel like we can have mentors all day. You still have to have it within you to get up and do these things.
You got to do your part, because you could have a mentor that's a multi-billionaire that has all types of answers and what they believe to be vital, pivotal information that have got them there. But however, every person is different. So the path that one person may have got to get to a destination may not be the path that is the best path for you to take. You may have to take a completely different path that will work for you. So it's important that you do your part. Like I feel like in the day and time we in of social media, people have short attention spans. you could go grocery shop. They bringing your groceries to the door. Everything is so instant.
Yeah.
Instant gratification. And people think starting to make that kind of like the standard when life just don't work like that.
It's not, because success is not instant. You might see people hit the lotto, and that might be a 1 in a trillion thing, but you still don't know how many times they played that. They played that number to get to that. But sometimes they had to keep adding and keep going and going and going. But when you see it, it looks like everything happened just like that.
Right, and then a lot of times that's I love that example. And another thing is a lot of times people who do hit the lotto or come across great things without going through failures, trials, and tribulations, and the things that you have to acquire to maintain said positions. That's why a lot of them lose it. They got shows about how all of them hit for millions and millions of dollars, and they done went broke, or they did that because if you don't work to get to a certain place or and develop the character, the small things that it takes to stay at that level, it's not gonna last. Like even you got like rappers and professional athletes, which not all. However, if you look, a lot of people who come across good things without having to go through the discipline and the tough times that it takes to get there, maybe the traditional way. They go through their own type of pitfalls and different things that they end up in.
And that's them failing as well, because then a lot of them you have some of them who blew every dollar that they received, and then they came back and said, okay, now I know what to do with it. That's failing forward.
Exactly.
Then you have the other ones who don't know what to do with it, and they can never get it again.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of them don't have the right people. So one of the differences is the mentors and learning and having that drive and having the right people so that now you can become disciplined, and now you know that you lost it the first time, you know what to do with it the second time around.
Right. Because we mentioned Mike Tyson earlier. In his financial peak, they say he ran up like $400 million, then went broke.
Yeah.
And then when you think about how interests work alone, you think like how can you fumble $400 million?
Right.
However, when what got you there is a special God-given thing that you have, but you were so focused on that, you don't develop the other things that should protect you once you get to this position.
Right.
Like even when you watch the book about Don King, man, the way Don King was robbing him, you think, damn, like, but that because, Don King was a little bit more savvy, business-wise and understanding of money. He was able to take advantage, in that particular case. So, and like you said, that was him falling forward. So, he went quiet for a minute. Now, every now and again, he do these celebrity fights, and I'm pretty sure he's, making a lot of money. And, that, like you said, like that was their way of failing forward. But either which way, you gotta, make something happen and, try and put one foot in front of the other is going to start there. Trying to have everything figured out before you take the first step is not going to be ideal.
No.
And be ready to and willing to deal with the tough times that come with what you want in life, because you don't want to get to where you aspire and dream to be, to lose it quickly because of, your ignorance of what it takes to maintain and sustain it.
Right. So trying to have everything in order is counterproductive.
Right.
Because like you said, it's never going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's better to get out there and start doing things. Develop yourself around
Right.
everything that it is that you're doing to make sure that your business or whatever you have going on is successful. Start developing around it. We can say we're going to develop beforehand. We're going to put all these things in place beforehand, and time is passing you by. And sometimes you'll never get there. So we can't develop everything in every scenario, especially. So that's fine when you're talking about college, because you're in school to develop certain skill sets. That's what you do. But when you're speaking of entrepreneurship, you have to just get out there and do it.
Right.
And then the other things will come. You already have something in you to make you say, okay, I want to take this path anyway.
Right.
But everything else, put one foot in front of the other, start developing around it, stop being afraid to fail, and get out there and do your thing.
All right. So there you go. You know, whatever it is you aspiring to do in life, you know, understand what it takes to be that person, understand what it takes to sustain at that level, find out what that is, and then constantly work towards being that, and be willing to take what come with it. You know, it's not gonna be easy. You know, it's gonna be tough times, but you know, stay consistent. You know, motivation is something that's gonna come and go. You know, but as long as you consistent at what it takes to be what it is that you're striving towards, then that's all that's important. Like, just keep working towards it, and you know, take the failures as lessons. You know, that's a part of the process of accomplishing whatever it is you're seeking to do. All right, till next time.